What habits have you undertaken that led to a happier and fulfilled life? Story 1. No social media whatsoever. It's time-wasting brain poison that completely throws off your calibration, quality of life. Regular exercise. It minimizes your healthcare costs while giving you an inexpensive leisure activity. Same concept applies to outdoor activities like camping, hiking, rock climbing, mountain biking, etc. Own and carry a firearm. Know and regularly train to use it for self-defense. Not only will you be less vulnerable in this world, the seriousness of lethal force will lead you to a personal policy of de-escalation first. You will become calmer and more rational. Save a portion of your income. 15-25 for retirement and another 3 to 5 for whatever, along with a 3-month emergency fund is ideal. If you can't spare that much, do what you can. When, not if, you need to fall back on it, you will thank yourself 1,000 times over. Assume you know 110th of Story 2. My family and I, husband and 9-year-old son, do a mission, vision, values creation every year together. We started it based on a Patrick Leoncini book about frantic families. We've been doing it for about 4 years now, and it's amazing. It helps to center us and to realize what we need to be doing. It helped me realize I needed to quit a job because it was bleeding too much into family time. It helped us to realize we were all unhappy after a cross-country movie and helped to show us that we needed a change. But it also helps us to have common goals. It's been amazing. Story 3. I have started to make an honest effort to say thank you more often and I'm sorry much less often. As a chronic self-blamer, I'll often only look at aspects of a situation that affect me. I'm late to meet a friend for lunch, and all I'm worried about is how guilty I feel for making her wait, how I'm always late, what is wrong with me, etc., etc. But I'd completely ignore the fact that my friend wanted to see me so badly that age waited patiently for me and didn't fuss when I finally showed up. So now, instead of the usual stupid, "I'm so sorry I'm late," I insert excuse here and then insert another excuse with more self-deprecation. I'll say, "Thank you so much for waiting for me. You have a crazy amount of patience, girl." And now I'm showing her how much I appreciate her friendship, thanking her for her time, and paying her a compliment. I've learned when I express myself with more positive, thankful, and graceful language, I'm much happier overall. Answer: I think that the replacing sorry with thank you thing was a lovely idea most of the time, but it drives me nuts in the context of lateness. Like you made an agreement to meet at a certain time, and your failure to meet your side of the agreement caused the other person to suffer unpleasantness. Saying "I am grateful you tolerated that" instead of "I am sorry I caused that unpleasantness" suggests to me that you are absolving yourself of responsibility for the loss of the other person's time. Speaking as someone who is pathologically early to everything and hears this a lot from other people, I would find that off-putting. It would sound to me like "I am glad you waited but do not regret causing you to wait." I totally agree with you that saying thanks for waiting is great, but it is not an adequate substitute for apologizing for being late. Happy compromise that allows you to use positive language while still owning the effect you had on that person. Just say both. Story 4. I know that I am late to the game on this post, but I have learned to wait before getting upset about different situations. I apply the now, 1 year, 10-year, and 100-year rule. If life or passing may occur now, do something now. If it might occur within 1 year, I am upset and will start to respond right away. If it could happen within 10 years, I will plan and take action to confront it. 100 years, it doesn't matter. This applies only to personal problems. Story 5. Never say have to. I used to always get down on things because I have to do them. I have to go to work on Saturday. I have to take my car to the shop on my day off. I have to go to a family function instead of watching football. No, I don't have to go to work. I have the opportunity to go do something valuable and get compensated. I don't have to get my car fixed. I get to drive a modern marvel around at insane speeds. I don't have to go to my nephew's birthday party. I get to go hang out with some of the people most important to me. At the end of the day, you don't have to do jack shoot. The things that feel like obligations are actually the most overwhelmingly positive decisions you make every day. You feel like you have to go to work because it is such a good deal that you can go sit in an office for a few hours and get compensated with what you can turn into a week's worth of Chipotle. If the deal was worse, it wouldn't seem like an obligation. It is about acknowledging all the agency you have, feeling like you are actually making a conscious decision. When you execute, all the little drudgery of being alive makes everything seem so much more valuable. And taking away the idea that you are obligated to do all these things makes you so much more critical of the choices you are making. All the things people have to do are just things they do on autopilot. Don't be on autopilot. Oh, the classic have to versus get to mind trick. Honestly, it sounds a bit like a motivational speaker's cheap hack at first, until you actually try it and realize your brain just fell for the oldest reframing trick in the book. Now I'm over here being weirdly grateful for doing laundry. Thanks for that. Story 6. 1. Cut ties with negative people. This includes negative family because being related is no reason to tolerate someone's horrible attitude. 2. Stop being embarrassed about things I like. 3. Wake up early. 4. Budget, and be honest with it. Sometimes it's kind of a bummer to miss out on fun things, but at least I know I won't be scrambling to pay for necessities later. Story 7. Celebrating other people's success. I started this around 30 and have truly found happiness in this practice. Story 8. I started vaping. Yes, that thing everyone on Reddit dislike. I have met some of the most genuine people in the vaping community, started a new business venture due to it, and have had a huge influx in marketing business because of it. Vaping has a harsh stigma, but the people that are a part of that culture are awesome. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of D-bags, but that can be found in any group. It might not be a typical answer, just thought I would share. Story 9. Wake up 15 minutes earlier than I need to and have a cup of coffee and read the paper. No matter how shoot my day ends up, I had 15 glorious minutes to myself. Story 10. A good work-life balance. Groundbreaking. But seriously, how many of us are still pretending that burning out is a personality trait? This person figured out that jobs are supposed to fund your life, not become it. Wild concept. Maintaining a good work-life balance. I realized that working erratic hours that hardly allowed for any social interaction or predictable amounts of personal time, well, it was bad for me. Now I seek out jobs that allow me to have predictable hours, adequate time off, and don't bother me in my downtime. I am much, much happier when I stick to this plan. Story 11. Reading. Every night before I sleep, I try to read at least a few pages or anything that I have. Doesn't matter what it is, just that I read. It's really soothing and makes you feel so much better. Story 12. Habit. Biting my nails. Yes, something as simple as not biting my nails was actually a great challenge for me. My nail biting started due to a childhood trauma, and I was never able to overcome that mental injury for quite some time. My family, who were unaware that I might have been going through something, only ridiculed or shamed me for my nibbling habit. They tried other preventative methods like applying terrible tasting nail polish to my nails or praying the habit away. Didn't work. My dad tried to make it very clear to me that my nail biting was extremely unsanitary, but that meant nothing to a person who would mindlessly put her hands in her mouth. My nail biting might have started due to nervousness or fear, but it escalated to nibbling for any reason. Sadness, hunger, happiness, boredom, sleepiness, etc. I went through most of my childhood with my family never seeing me with long or short natural nails. According to them, I would be nubby forever. It wasn't until I had moved away to college and had been separated from my family for many years that I was able to finally kick the habit. I actually shocked myself at how easy it was for me to stop. I had come to realize how much my family's presence had been responsible for progressing my habit. You would think the stress of college would make my habit worse, but it didn't. All I had done was tell myself, try not to bite your nails all day. For one day, I'd kept a bright ring on my finger or a loose bangle on my wrist, accessories I hadn't been wearing prior, that would distract me whenever I would raise my hand to my mouth. The bangle was the best option because I would noticeably feel it shuffle down my wrist to my forearm. Gradually, each day became easier and easier, and for the first time since being a little kid, I was able to see myself with long, natural nails. I still remember my dad's face when he saw my unbitten nails for the first time. Priceless. He analyzed my fingers to see if they were real. Even when I was back around my family, I would get the urges to bite, but didn't. That shocked me more. I overcame my nail biting, but I'd also overcame a mental stress I had unknowingly associated with them. To this very day, when I look at my long nails, I'm still taken aback. My nail biting had consumed me for so long, and I'd never thought there would be a day when it would come to an end. This one hit different. It's not really about nails, is it? It's about how sometimes the thing holding you back isn't the habit itself, but the environment or the people that subconsciously enable it. Moving out to find yourself is a cliche for a reason. Sometimes cliches are true. Story 13. Find humor in everything. I make the effort just to laugh off the unfortunate things in life. It took many years. I suffered from depression, still do, but I've learned not to stress over things I can't control. I have little mantras that I just need to say out loud or think, and I instantly change from raging to laughing. People might see me and think I'm crazy, but other people find a smile and or laugh is infectious, so they wind up chilling. I've diffused arguments and conflicts this way. Even simple things like minor road rage. In traffic, ready to punch someone, I say my little appropriate mantra are loud though. I laugh. I genuinely have changed mindset at a mere second. Story 14. I'd like to share something which has completely changed how I live my life. It's a bucket list, but wait, hear me out. My bucket list has rules. Rules that may not be broken, no matter what. The rules: 1. What enters the list may never be removed. 2. Modifications to a list item may only be done for clarification purposes. At least one item from the list must be completed each month. The concept: items on the list are not necessarily experiences you want to have, but rather experiences that will force you outside of your comfort zone. E.g., I did not want to try calamari, but one item on the list was eat a food that you find absolutely disgusting, and squid would be one such food. I never wanted to eat squid, but I wanted to prove to myself that I could. Items on the list can vary in complexity, but I try to keep them all personal to maintain the integrity of the list. One item on mine is to watch Pulp Fiction. It's deeply personal for me since I always get made fun of for not having watched that movie, and I don't really care to, but that's exactly why it's on the list. Other items are more complex, like experience zero gravity or find a secluded hot spring and enjoy it with friends, naked. Other items are out of my control, like serve on a jury. Don't make the mistake of adding impossible to complete items on there like I did. Rule 1 states nothing can be removed. That is the golden rule. I was stupid enough to add go to EDC 20th anniversary, but I can't go alone and I have no one to go with. Another one I added was be there as a true friend for Alyssa. She's this amazing girl who changed my life and for whom I wish I could reciprocate that for, but, well, life kind of has a way of kicking you in the balls. It really sucks knowing you'll never be able to cross off an item. I seriously recommend not adding any or as few as possible of these types of things. One of my biggest regrets will be these 2 items on my list so far that I will die not having done. I add things as they come to me, and I let people give me suggestions as well. The goal is to add more than I do right now. And as I get older, I would stop adding things until I'm old enough that all I have left to do is complete the last items. Currently, my list has over 150 items on it, 44 of which I have done. I add the date to each completed item as well, so I have a vague memory of my life's timeline. Lastly, never be ashamed of what you put on the list. It should literally be anything you want to throw in there. One of mine is hit the Reddit front page, which was a fun experience to have. Another is self-care 10 times in 24 hours. Because why not? Another still is fall in love again. I even have arbitrary life goals like salary. Make 10 hour is one that I crossed off last year. Make 18 hour is one I just crossed off. Make 25 hour is one I will be crossing off this time next year. You will find yourself forcing yourself to complete these items. One a month for the rest of your life. This won't cure your depression. It didn't cure mine. What it did do was remove most of the regret I lived with. One of my items was to tell my grandparents I love them, something I'd never done over the last 24 years because I wall off my emotions from people I care about. If it weren't for that list, I would have never done it last month, and now I feel comfortable saying it regularly. When they pass on, I won't have to ask myself if they knew how much I cared about them. Which reminds me, I gotta go call them now. Story 15. People would tend to talk over me a lot, like, very often. I don't really know why. They would try to interject something while I was talking and just interrupt me. Usually the interruptee will stop talking to hear the other person. I decided one day I was fudge sick of it, so I decided if somebody starts interrupting, I'm going to finish what I was fudge saying. People tend to stop and listen now because they realize I'm not going to stop for them. Story 16, letting things go. I stopped complaining about things. Makes life 10x worse than it really is when you sit and stew. Story 17. TLDR. Rap. A few years back, my mom's brother died and she fell into a deep depression. She took it horribly by sipping white wine, sitting at her laptop and talking on the phone each night while using me as an emotional crutch. She would constantly blame me for shoot that wasn't my fault or just straight make shoot up. I found escape from this hellish mess of a woman inside substances and video games and self-care. I was forming bad habits left and right and sideways. The one thing that wasn't detrimental to my character but helped me cope was angry, pain-filled hip-hop music. Fast forward to last summer in July, just 2 months after I had turned 17, I decided to pick up a pen and start writing my own rap lyrics. Half a year later, I'm confident as ever. I believe writing, be it whatever form, as long as your thought is taking physical form, is an incredible way of building self-worth. Life felt empty for me and hopeless, but this work ethic has extended its reach into other areas years of my life. Instead of being so apathetic at school, I've changed to actually doing my work and studying and approaching pretty girls and striking conversation. Story 18. Taking an hour-long walk a few times per week, paying as little attention to Facebook as I can, reading books, caring for animals, and being creative. Story 19. Take responsibility for as much as you can. Not like, oh, I broke that. Sorry that when you actually didn't. But what I mean is take responsible for everything in your life that involves bettering yourself. Somebody's a jerk to you and wronged you. What can you do to avoid dealing with that person in the future? Or avoid dealing with those people? You're out of shape and overweight and don't like it? Put down the BuzzFeed articles on body image and the genetics excuses and do whatever you can to get yourself into better shape. Don't like the way you see so many assholes in the world? Say please, thank you, hold doors, and do your best to be a good person and promote some change. Story 20. I quit Facebook and other social media. Now when I see my friends, the conversation is more than, did you see that thing on Facebook? Yep. I make it a point to talk to friends in other states personally, and I don't feel the need to check Facebook several times a day. I stop watching broadcast news. I limit my news intake to the radio to and from work. If I hear them start to go into a story I heard before, I turn it off. If I'm on my motorcycle, I don't listen at all that day and will skim headlines on my phone. I ride my motorcycle whenever I can. I make it a point to travel every year. International travel doesn't always work with the budget, but a multi-day motorcycle trip, camping, or overlanding trip happens at least once a year. Story 21. Exercise. When I exercise, I have a 72 HR window from the end where I feel like I'm in control of my life. I'm not a victim of some bullshit, and anything is possible. Beyond that window, everything hurts. I'm getting too old for this shoot, and these god-darn kids need to GTFO my lawn. Story 22. It's more of a state of mind rather than habit. It took me a long time, but I had to make myself understand that I'm not made for everyone. There are people out there that will dislike me no matter what, and it's better for me to let those people be instead of trying to win them over. There's a quote in Hindi that translates to, if you worry about what people will think, what will you leave for those people to think about? Life becomes easier when you focus on yourself and your happiness and not what others think or feel about you. Story 23. Monitoring my mental emotional health and taking corrective action if necessary. There's a TED Talk on it if you're further interested, but I took bits and pieces from materials I watched and applied them to my life accordingly. I've always been a slight introvert and was not social at events, to the point where I wondered if I had some kind of social anxiety problem, but I gave it some serious thought and came to a conclusion. I'd say it's through the mind that we perceive the world. Your eyes may see, but your mind interprets as it sees fit, so it's important to keep a tab on your mental emotional hygiene. Case in point, used to be dragged to events by friends, so that I was loath to attend. Realized that my SO would pick up on this, and she'd feel bad because she's dragged me out to this event she knew I'd dislike. And I'd feel even shittier because she just wants to have a good time with me and her friends. But I'd reluctantly go along with this. Fine, if I can't skip it, then I'll just silently survive through it. Attitude, which really began taking its toll. So I decided to monitor my mental emotional status, health the next time, and I try to rationalize why I didn't want to go or why I'm not interested in her friends. And well, it made me realize that I'm a person that's very reluctant to change. It wasn't her friends that were assholes or whatever. It was just that I dislike having a change in routine, and seeing her friends was a change in my plan. This realization also affected my work life because I realized I was applying the same attitude to meeting seminars, networking, events at work, because they were all these darn things changing up my schedule as they popped in and out of my calendar. So I decided to go to parties with my SO, no longer with the fudge this bullshit attitude, even though I still dislike it all, but rather my SO wants to go and she wants to have a nice time with me, so I'll have a nice time with her. Basically, my body was there at the party, but in spirit, I was just accompanying my SO to wherever the fudge she wanted to go and was keeping her happy. Bit of a ramble, but yeah, that's a habit I practice, and it really does change how you see the world. My body was at the party, but in spirit, I was just accompanying my SO. I felt this in my soul. The mental gymnastics we do to avoid admitting we're just stubborn creatures of habit is an Olympic sport. This is a masterclass in emotional logistics. Story 24. Reading. There is so much knowledge about life in books. Self-help books will change your perspective on life and make you a better person. Meditate. There are countless health benefits to meditation. 20 minutes a day is enough. You become more present to the moment. Exercise. A healthy body leads to a healthy mind. Nutrition. When I got depressed, I started eating clean. Within 4 days of eating super clean, my depression washed away, and I was naturally happier than I was in months. You are what you eat. Fix my sleep cycle. A healthy sleep cycle will keep your mood good and your energy levels great. Go out and meet people. I do challenges where I go out and talk to 5 new people a day. At school, at clubs, bars, in the gym, etc. This lead me to becoming a club promoter and starting a business based off of YouTube. Get a hobby and get a life. Do cool things others don't do. Learn a sport, learn a martial art, learn about business. Do something. I can honestly say the past 3 years of my life have been insane. A few video collaborations I did on YouTube got millions of views. I hit 6.5K subscribers on YouTube and run a small dating coach business off of that. Because of this, I am financially free while in college. I'm only 20 years old. Everything I listed bleeds into each other. Success in one aspect of your life gives you willpower in other parts of your life. This guy is 20, financially free from a dating coach business off YouTube. And his advice is basically do everything all the time, perfectly. It's equal parts inspiring and utterly exhausting to read. I need a nap just from his productivity. Story 25. 1. Go the gym. Whether it's 3 times a week or if it's daily. Go. Put in the effort and show up. Not every day has to be a good workout. Shoot days happen, but the thing that matters is you go. 2. Bed at a decent time. Sleep is hugely important. 3. Eat better, eat less. You don't need to eat that 5 entire pizza just because you bought it. 15 miles down the road, you'll look back and regret it. 4. Spend wisely, but don't be too thrifty that you hamper your joy in life. Story 26. I started being active. I stopped watching other people live their lives and started living my own. I started whitewater kayaking, which turned me into a big subculture. I also got into mountain biking and taking traditional kung fu. An active lifestyle has helped my physical and mental health. I look back at all this time I partied too hard watching things like TV, movies, and sports. It was a waste because it wasn't really satisfying. It was only an unhealthy distraction. Now I feel healthier and happier, and my life feels more authentic. Story 27. After my son was born, I decided I needed to change my eating and exercise habits. I wasn't obese, but definitely chubbier than I'd like. I got a gym membership at a place that offered childcare. I'm a single mom. I've been going for nearly 3 years now. I've gone from unable to do 1 push-up to able to do 3 sets of 15 push-ups. I've gone from struggling with beginner yoga to successfully having a daily intermediate yoga practice. I'm stronger than I've ever been, and I'm down 28 pounds. I'm now a healthy weight and can keep up with my very active toddler. It's also made a huge difference in my mental health. Story 28. Quitting social media. It clogs your brain with everyone else's issues. I am personally much happier without it. Story 29. If I can make someone's day just a little better, I will. I find joy in it. I sometimes give strangers compliments, and they always brighten up so much. I don't comment on their bodies or anything like that. I compliment glasses, clothes, etc. If a coworker has been putting in extra effort, I'll casually bring it up at team meetings so they get that visibility. Oh, by the way, so-and-so, thanks so much for taking on that extra workload. We couldn't have made deadline without you. When I see a polite kid, I'll tell their parents I appreciate how considerate and well-mannered their kids are. It's not that I think parents need validation from me, but I just like to let them know I appreciate them helping the world to be a more pleasant place. Story 30. Doing something over nothing in every situation. If I'm at home watching a movie or playing video games and I get asked if I want to go to the mall, play a board game, talk, walk, anything that involves doing something social or productive, I do it, even if I don't always want to. When I get home, I can always do my own thing at any point, but I've realized that you can't do those other things at any time. So every time I have a choice in what to do, I always choose the one that ends with me being able to say, I did blank, I went blank, etc. Never saying no to any opportunity brings you places. I could be at home each night, do homework and school, and that's it. But instead, I am part of theater, choir, and I work at Staples too. And all of those together have changed my life. Drama alone has changed me from being a closed-off introvert to a person who I've very recently been told by a friend that they envy my social confidence. I don't believe all that they said, but the idea that other people think you're confident and outgoing is really all you need, because that's the whole point. You have limited time in life, and for me as a high schooler entering his final semester, I am trying to squeeze everything I can out of it, because I will never again have these opportunities again. Do everything you possibly can experience. It may not always be what you wanted to do at the moment, but you will never regret those experiences looking back. Doing something over nothing is a dangerously simple idea. It turns out FOMO can be a positive force if you weaponize it against your own couch. This person turned yes into a superpower and accidentally became the main character. Annoyingly effective. Story 31. Only do things you care about. Obviously, this isn't hard and fast. You probably don't care about your dishes, but you should probably do the dishes. But goes for any major expenditure of your time and money. If you don't care about what you're doing, stop doing it. Don't waste your time. It's too valuable. Example, I have a process when I get big projects. I'm a university student. First step, I look at the project and say to myself, does this look fun? If the answer is no, I make it fun. Go off on a tangent that's interesting. I once gave a presentation about the invention of the hot air balloon in an oceanography class. The best part is that I have literally never gotten below 95 on a project when I do this. Story 32. Clean up right after eating. Always clean the kitchen before going to bed. It's so much easier to do a little bit at a time rather than wait until it gets overwhelming. And there's just something calming and peaceful about a clean home. Story 33. Some days I eat dinner you a homeless person. I obviously check to see if they're insane first, but after that, I'll invite them into my home, let them shower, get clothed. Then I sit down, make or purchase a meal for myself and them. Wife gets home late, and I sit down and converse. You'll be amazed at some of the stories these people tell. They're just people who homes edit, change every day to some days. Sometimes it's 3 to 4 days a week, sometimes not at all. Depends on energy levels. Answer. Little confused on this one. Not trying to doubt you or change the things you do. And maybe I'm just a Grinch, but it just seems a little scary to me. Again, sorry if I'm a little grim, but I live in NYC and I see con artists and scams on a somewhat regular basis. And I can imagine a few homeless people mooching off of me or trying to stay longer, or even making up sad stories for pity. Maybe it's different in different parts of the world, but a homeless person seems like one of the least likely people I'm letting into the safety of my home and near my family simply because they have nothing to lose and a lot to gain. Also, how exactly do you end the night? Show them back into the cold? Story 34. Do not run from life problems. Always have savings in case of emergency. Treat people very well because prayer of someone might prove to be the bridge to take you to success. Be humble and don't panic or criticize others. Story 35. Going to bed at a decent hour. Fudge constant sleep deprivation. Gotta get up by 6? Go to bed at 10. It's amazing how much better your alarm clock works when you've actually gotten enough sleep. Edit. Folks are saying this is hard to do. Here's some advice. Leave your phone on the dresser. Don't have a TV in your bedroom? Leave your devices in the living room. Bed is for sleeping and intimacy. If you're doing something else, do it somewhere else. When you make these changes, your brain comes to associate bed with sleep. Then when you get in bed, your brain knows it's time to power down. Answer, this has changed my life. All through university, I would consistently go to bed past 1, and no matter how late I would sleep in, I would be tired all day. I never wanted to do anything other than lie around all day and play video games or watch Netflix. Since I got a job, I started going to bed between 9 and 10, and I feel so much better all the time. I still have some bad habits, but I can get so much more done every day than before. Don't lie to yourself and say, I'm just not a morning person. Start going to bed at a decent hour, and you'll change your life. Story 36. Putting all my freelance earnings away, no matter how much it is. I don't even think of it as spendable. That habit has held, I may save enough money that I'd be fine if I lost my job or broke up with my partner. It feels good. Story 37. Martial arts and dance. Even if you aren't good at either, they act as a therapy for your body and mind. They also serve as good time killers. Story 38. 1. Psychotherapy. 2. Working out and letting go of people that clearly aren't good for me and not believing that I won't find better because that's all someone like me could get anyway. 4. Eating healthier. Being more assertive, not aggressive, but having firm boundaries. 6. Socializing more, even though I'm introvert, had gotten closer to hermit than just introverted. Edit. I'm happy my most upvoted comment is about making yourself happy and healthy. Answer, I couldn't agree more with number 6. I was so shy in high school and never did anything with anyone during my free time. But now when I'm in university, I've actually made an effort trying to be more social And these past years have honestly been the best years of my life. I've met so many new and wonderful people and gained so many wonderful experiences. I'm still shy, but it's not as bad as it used to be, and I'm enjoying life more. One thing I'd like to add to your list is trying to say yes to everything. Within reason, of course, but you know what I mean. Before, my friends would invite me to some event that I didn't really feel like going, and I came up with so many excuses why I couldn't go. Too much homework or studying for a test, the experience not being worth the money, etc. But when I actually started saying yes, even though I didn't really feel like going, it actually opened up so many new experiences and brought us closer together, and I always had a good time. And you know, I've never thought that agreeing to spend time with people was a mistake when I get home. Story 39. I meditate for 40 minutes every day. I started out by meditating for 10 minutes a day, and then over a period of time increased. I practice using positive daily affirmations, and I get 45 minutes of cardio daily. My eating could be a little cleaner, but in the past 3 years, I have lost a total of 168 salams via diet and exercise. Story 40. Boundaries. I applaud the ops who talked about quitting social media, negative people, drinking, sodas, smoking, etc. Hell, I deleted my FB about a year ago and only participate on Reddit, though I do watch YouTube. But setting and abiding by personal boundaries creates the opportunities I need. Story 41. Living by myself, even for a short while, a year or two. I don't think I really realized who I was until I lived by myself, because I realized how much my thoughts and ideas were swayed by the opinions of others, parents, roommates, etc. Story 42. Mindfulness. I do not run from my emotions. I sit with them and breathe. I am with anger now. I am not an angry person, nor do I let anger control my actions. I just notice that it is with me. Then I investigate. What caused this anger? What was the cue that brought it out? Was it some violated expectation of myself, others, or the situation I find myself in? Was it some existing mental state bumped just over the edge? It's interesting to know what causes it. What reaction does it make me want to take? I'm sure at some level that action makes sense. Maybe I seek validation for my anger and my expectation which has been violated. That's good to know. What do I gain from that? Does it help in the longer term or just feel right in this moment? How has that habit played out for me in the past? It turns out it has not played well. Is there another action I might take that satisfies the need that causes my default action, might have, but ends in better ways? I'll need to work on that. What ways might I avoid the cue for anger in the first place? Another good thought there. I'll just breathe with those thoughts for a moment and let the anger be. Then let it pass. I do not run from my emotions nor let them run me. I am not my emotions, though I sit with them. They pass quickly and with less pain when I cope with them this way. So I am mindful. Mindfulness unpacked. It's not about being zen all the time. It's about being a detective in your own brain, solving the mystery of why am I like this before you accidentally take it out on the dishwasher or your husband. Answer, I think I do this without realizing. However, because I don't practice this actively, it takes several days to fully understand why I feel the way I feel. Sometimes if I don't wait long enough before I say how I am feeling, I'll misplace the cause. For example, I thought I was getting impatient with my husband after a few days of being short with him. We argued over it. A few more days passed and I realized that it wasn't impatience that was causing my shortness and anger, but a feeling of loneliness. I felt I was alone in the battle against dishes and schoolwork. I felt I had to handle it all alone because I was having to handle it all alone. A whole week passed before I really dug to the root of my issue. Unfortunately, my husband has to wait it out while I work everything through. Thank you for posting this. I'm going to save it and reread it when I'm having a tough time figuring out the root of my emotion. I think it will speed the process up a bit. Story 43. The willingness to buck trends, take big risks, and live life in a way that doesn't necessarily conform to societal norms, all while being responsible for your own actions, life, financially and otherwise. Story 44. Regular prayer. Talking to and adoring God on a regular basis sets my heart on the correct path for that day or week, grinds off my rough edges, and makes me approach things more humbly. It's noticeable when I've been skipping it, especially when I'm angry with someone. There's something powerful in praying for that person to have a good night's sleep. Story 45. Eating well but still enjoying myself once a week. Exercising where I can. Luckily, I work a job where I can be on my feet 9-10 of the day. I can get roughly 6 miles of walking in a day, knowing my limits but knowing when to push them. Learning the art of blocking people from my life that are toxic. Buying experiences, not things, or even buying things that create experiences. Art materials, for example. Story 46. They have been mentioned multiple times in this thread, but I will bring them up again to reinforce them. Diet and exercise changed my life. They got rid of my depression and anxiety. For millennia, we have hunted, gathered, farmed, and fished. Physical things. You need to get rid of that pent-up physical energy through exercise. Not only will feel better, you will look better, live longer with a higher quality of life, and think more clearly. As well, we evolved to eat real food. Bad things in moderation are all right, but make sure most of what you eat is proper. Everything you need to know is on this single page. Budget and live below your means. Use software to track your finances. You never pay interest and never worry about money. It is an amazing feeling. Manage your career well and network with a lot of people. You will never write a resume again or put up with a shoot boss. If you have good savings from the above point, the transition is easy. Mediate or do yoga. That stuff is for real. Have an outdoor hobby. Mountain biking, hiking, vegetable gardening, wild mushroom foraging, fishing, etc. Just like I mentioned in the first point, we are cavemen who just recently discovered technology. You need to be outside, not being bombarded with tech sometimes. Have an indoor hobby. Cooking, baking, pottery, brewing beer, etc. Learn the fundamentals of fashion. Get the key wardrobe pieces everyone needs. Learn how to put outfits together. Learn to iron, etc. Don't chase brand names or logos. This is abstract, but I think important. Never hyper-compete. Do not fight for the bottom. Change the game fundamentally or make a new one. Get organized and stay organized. Sell, donate, recycle, or trash whatever you don't need. This is the ultimate touch grass manifesto. Diet, exercise, finance, fashion, hobbies. It's the complete starter pack for adulting. It reads like someone assembled a human from an IKEA manual. And honestly, it's working for them. Story 47. Simply avoid people and activities that make you feel bad. This all comes down to mindfulness. If booze is making you feel tragic in the next day, no more booze. If that person at tennis is so begotten, you feel less happy having been friendly and agreed to have a drink with them afterwards. Just be aware of what is good for you and what is bad for you. Other people will never matter quite so much in this simple equation. Story 48. 1. I have my own economic system where, when I'm projecting a month or a year or whatever, I round down any money I have coming in and round up any money I have going out. As long as there's still a surplus, I've never struggled. 2. I call it lucid living, but seriously, just being in the moment and at all times. So many people try to lucid dream, but then live in an almost dreamlike state. Makes no sense. 3. I try to never say anything that I'm going to regret within a year. I think a year is a long enough time for me to be a considerably different person. And at that point, if I regret actions, that's understandable. But it blows my mind how many people say, I'm sorry, within the same 24 hours of doing the thing they were sorry for. 4. Dislike to do another money one, but always divide price by your wage. I've talked myself out of some frivolous expenditures by realizing just how many hours it took to earn that thing. 5. Experience trumps possession. Owning nice furniture would be cool, but for the same price, I could take a trip to this Vietnamese cave I recently found out about, and so I think I may do that. Story 49. Starting my day by thinking positively. Before I even get out of bed, I give myself a pep talk, if you will, telling myself I'm going to have a good day and that I will accomplish whatever it is I plan on accomplishing that day. It sets the tone for my whole day. I used to be consumed by negativity, but once I started doing this, things started to change for me. Story 50. Making or engaging in small talk with anyone everywhere. It's amazing how you can get along and meet people once you feel comfortable talking to strangers. Going to bed, getting up early, going alone to group activities, sports, classes, workshops. Story 51. I retired in my early 40s on a strict budget. My youngest left home at 19 in next year. I hadn't seriously dated in 15 years. Suddenly, time, so much time. I read, I grow, I openly think, I date. Old and new friendships are thriving. I never knew such a value to open time. Instead of money and things I can do with money, I simply buy time. And it's been amazing. I have hobbies, picked up some old favorites on a team, and new ones. It's an entirely new way of life, and it's quite an adjustment. It's a huge sacrifice in many ways, financially, and how I calibrate my accomplishments and what entails in success. But it's also a huge gift. It may not last. It may just be a phase, a growth spurt towards something else, but it's amazing. Answer. Heck, if you planned it out to the dime like that, you could easily expand your financial options with a little part-time job that can bring you a lot of joy too. Pet house sitting, lifeguard at a public swimming area, ice cream shop. The list goes on of fun things that could get you a little extra cash while still being retired. As in, you can just leave when you don't feel like having the job anymore. Plus, some of those jobs could help you meet new and interesting people. Story 52. Being more intimate more frequently with my husband, being more open about intimacy, it has brought us closer on a whole other level. On the flip side, also praying more, not just verbally saying prayers, but writing them down, asking for strength, guidance, and direction in my life. One awesome way I have been praying is by a method called praying in color. I highly suggest checking it out for those times words just don't seem to do your feelings justice. I really just get lost in my thoughts, which I don't make enough time for. Story 53. Waking up early, even if you don't have to. Also going to bed early. I feel like I've got so much time to do things. 1 year ago, I would sleep until 1 p.m. and stay awake until 4 a.m. The days seemed to flow away and it made me feel kind of helpless. But now I never stay in bed longer than 10 minutes after waking up, and it does make feel a lot better to make the most of the day. Answer, I really wish I could do that. I'm currently in a constant cycle where I stay up till 2 in the morning and wake up at noon the next day. Even if I set an alarm for 7 and 8 a.m., I'll wake up and then fall right back to sleep again. And on school days, I find it difficult to wake up, and then I come to school late. It's really messing me up, and I just don't know how to get out of it. I'll try to go to bed earlier, but I can't sleep, and so will just stay on my computer a bit longer until my eyes feel heavy. I'll set several alarms over the course of an hour to try to get me up in the morning, and each time they go off, I can't muster up the will to actually get up. Instead, I'll just hit snooze. How the hell can you combat this? Story 54. Viewing money not as some force all are beholden to, or something to obtain as much of, but simply as a means of exchanging goods and services. Economics 101 will teach you that is what it exists as, after all. Sure, the stock market, banks, and pop music may give cash the appearance of some powerful, all-defining entity, but in reality, the economy is not about dollars or euros or pesos. It's about goods and services. Similarly, taxation is less like a mugger stealing your wallet and more like a parent caring for their child. Some goods and services will not be distributed or performed by a for-profit business, and charities are unreliable on a national level. By adopting a humane outlook on taxation, you will come to see it not as a necessary evil, but as a contribution to society. If you support better political policies as a result, all the greater. Story 55. Doing good in secret. A Taijikwan teacher gave me an assignment to complete every day for the rest of my life. It has changed me in wonderful ways. The assignment, every day, find the opportunity to do something good. Do something that helps others and in no way helps you. Do it in secret. No one can ever know that you did it. If anyone suspects you did it, you have failed in your assignment and must find another good thing to do. You must never ever claim nor get credit for what you did. The assignment is more difficult to complete than you might imagine. If I thought anyone might even suspect who I really am, I would never post this to Reddit because it would make it too difficult to complete my assignment. Story 56. Forcing myself to exercise 5 days per week. I lost 15 pounds since last year and am happier with my stronger and more toned body. Plus, I only tolerate walking and running because I listen to music. Listening to more music makes me happier. Going paleo or natural food diet. I eat efficiently and feel full from a plate of meat and vegetables. Also, it's easier to think about what to cook. Eating things that are high quality. Since I eat paleo for 5 days a week, I use the weekend as time to eat special food or to carve out. This not only works for saving money during the week, but it makes me treasure weekend foods and makes me seek out the best weekend foods. Story 57. Therapy. Cutting out toxic influences. There's a saying, it's better to be alone than in poor company, which is very true. Easier said than done, but still. Eating better, that's MyFitnessPal. Going to the gym. Taking time to do things I need and enjoy. Story 58. Exercise. In the past 4 months, I went from going to the gym once a week in the beginning to getting some home equipment and working out almost every single day. Lost about 15 pounds of fat so far and put on some decent muscle too. Feeling so much better. Story 59. 2 5-minute meditation every morning, evening. I'm a super anxious person, and just being able to get 2 minutes to just mindfully not give a shoot makes my day so much better. Story 60. Just about to turn 30, here are some changes I made in the past 5 years that have made me happier and healthier. Stopped smoking, saved more than I spend, started doing triathlons, dropped and kept off 75 pounds since graduating college over the past 8 years. Read more. Work at work. Better to get work done than browse Reddit goals for the next few years. Understand long-term investments better. Figure out continuing education that fits for me and my needs. Story 61. I turned off email notifications on my phone. Instead, I added 2 daily calendar notifications that remind me to check email. I am so much more productive, and my phone doesn't light up every 20 seconds with a mundane question. Story 62. Reading. I have to think that reading will improve your life more than just about any other single thing. Read about other people's lives and how they coped, survived, changed, and gained insight, wisdom, etc. A person can spend a lifetime learning something, and you can read about it, and if you wish, apply that to your own in a few hours. Read history, and you can understand what happened, why we are doing things a certain way, and probably see down the road about what is going to happen easier than others. Read science articles and technology books, and you can gain a lot of insights into the world today. Have a problem? Find yourself in a situation? Someone has probably been there before you and written about it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can see what happened to them and see some real insight. Answer. Back before Reddit destroyed the free time I used to use for reading, I had a simple rule. At least every other book had to be nonfiction. I have a voracious appetite for knowledge, and one of the great things about well-written nonfiction is all the unexpected information you get that sometimes is only tangentially related to the actual subject of the book, especially vocabulary. I used to keep a mini spiral-bound notebook, jotting down unfamiliar words to look up and their page placement. I later learned that one of the best things you can do to help keep dementia at bay is to read nonfiction, because you use far more of it than reading fiction. Story 63. 1. Total list on the fridge. If something needs to get done, it goes on the list, and I don't have to worry about it. If I'm feeling bored or productive, I can look at the list and do something. 2. Don't try to match your standard of living to income. My income would allow me to spend double on food, entertainment, clothing, and have a house twice as expensive, but I don't. Now I never really need to worry about impulse buys. You're going to get used to whatever standard of living you pick, so why go all out for it? 3. Good mattress, good sheets, good blankets, and wash your sheets often. A clean feeling, comfortable bed is a great way to start the night. 4. Stop eating at the computer. Small one, but eating at the computer leads to a messy area, and just kind of having your default as being at the computer browsing the web or watching videos. Eat at a table and read, and you'll see your attention span become a lot better in general. 5. At work, I try to take a 15-minute break every day and just go for a walk. No playing on the phone, no thinking about work, just let the mind wander. My job is mentally exhausting, and my brain wants to overstimulate as a relaxation like browsing Reddit. Don't cut out the stimulus, and you'll recover from exhaustion much faster. The don't eat at the computer rule is the silent hero here. We've all become one with our chairs, scrolling endlessly. This person fought back by using a table and won. It's the small, rebelliously analog victories. Story 64. This will get buried, but I started a New Year's resolution after the disaster that was 2015. In my list of things I have: 1. Let everything go. You can't control people. You can only control how you react. 2. Get your finances straight. You owe a lot of money. Figure out how to budget and pay it back. 3. Get healthier. This is not the year you want to die, and you're sick of saying, I'll start tomorrow. Start today. 4. Get organized. Seriously. Stop waiting for tomorrow to do it. Out of this, my life has turned around. I made myself a Get It Together binder, and in it, I have plans for points 1, 2, 3, and 4. This has let me feel like I have some control in my life and has ultimately made me so much happier. If I don't work out one day, it's not that I have failed. I had a setback, and I'll work it out tomorrow. If I overspent, then I'll figure it out in my budget and rearrange it for the next paycheck. It's gone great so far, and I'm actually planning on a trip later this year with what I've saved. Story 65. I drink a glass of water right before bed and first thing in the morning, and right before I drink anything other than water, often whether I think I'm thirsty or not, has helped cut down on snacking, slowed consumption of other beverages, and kept me more decently hydrated, as well as making me breathe easier at night. Story 66. The only thing close to social media I follow is Reddit. I don't have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or any of that shoot. Also, I answer unknown phone calls in an Australian accent. Answer: yes. Cutting social media for me was huge and helped me avoid a lot of "he said what" drama. I found that after I quit, I realized how much energy I had to think about things that mattered more to me in life, and how much less time I spent thinking about when to take a selfie or an Instagram photo or editing and rereading statuses. Now I just feel that social media is very self-indulgent and tiring. Story 67. Cooking for myself instead of eating out all the time. Also jogging, not super intense, just enough to keep things tight and the food moving through the intestines. Awesome erectile dysfunction fighter too. Story 68. I deleted Snapchat and Twitter. These are minute things that aren't as serious as some, but in a generation where no one has an attention span anymore, it's nice to be the person in the group who's not scrolling through Twitter feeds or Snapchat stories. I don't waste my time on my phone as much anymore, and it's sort of nice being out of the loop for once. It's like I don't care about other people's lives who are irrelevant to me, and I don't talk as much shoot or get FOMO, fear of missing out. It's lovely, and I highly recommend it. Story 69. I'm pretty late to the party. My habit would have to be being constantly aware. Besides your closest friends and family, no one give a fudge about you. I used to judge when walking into a room full of people, feeling awkward when walking into a party scared of what people thought of me. I came to realize that everyone has their own problems. Most of the thoughts you have every day are about you. No one has time to give a second thought for someone they don't know. Armored with this piece of realization, I did something I have always wanted to do. Go out dancing every week. I love dancing, but was always scared of people judging me on the dance floor. It just turns me into a ball of anxiety, so I tend to just sit and watch everyone else having fun. As I was approaching the dance floor for the first time, I felt a strong resistance overcome me. I was back into my old habits. My inner dialogue was constantly telling me how people would think I'm a weirdo. Feeling overwhelmed, I decided to take a sit and make peace with my thoughts. Accomplishing this was a part of my inner journey. I really wanted to do it. There I was, by myself, constantly fighting my thoughts. It took me a good 2 hours before I decided to push through the resistance and hit the dance floor. Gee whiz, I have never looked back since then. There is something about dance that has a special place in my heart. When you move to the beat, everything feels so free, so right. It's pure bliss. I now go every week and get so much enjoyment from it. I will go as far as saying it cured my depression. The realization that nobody is thinking about you is either terrifying or the most liberating thing in the world. This person used that truth as armor, walked onto a dance floor, and danced their way out of depression. A powerful reminder that most of our prison walls are made of imaginary observers. Story 70. I told my partner what to say to me and what to do when I'm having a bad day stressing out. Now, when I have a freak out, he doesn't have to worry about saying or doing the wrong thing, and I calm down much quicker. Win-win. Story 71. Consistently reminding myself of how small I am and how we're barely even a speck in the universe. It's easy to get caught up in everything when you consider your perception of life as the universe. Taking the time to think about it really helps me relax and accept the effect of whatever I do in my life. Story 72. I was given advice to live life in the present. In other words, stop sweating all the shoot you don't have control of. It sounds simple, but it really is important. The past can't be changed, and the future is uncertain, so focus on the now. My anxiety definitely toned down a bit as a result. Story 73. Drinking green tea. More energy leads to more working out, which leads to sleeping easier, which leads to a healthier body and mind. Story 74. Sobriety. Feels so good not to have toxins in my body anymore. It was quite the adjustment, but well worth it for me. Before I get downvoted to hell, let me say it's been good for me. I'm not preaching. I could give a rat's jerk what you all do. Story 75. In high school, my dad taught me, will it matter? And I have a tattoo of it now. When things go wrong or I'm upset over something, I stop and ask myself, will it matter in an hour, tomorrow, next week, in a month? I find it helps me keep things in perspective. Like, yes, it sucks. I'm stuck in traffic and will be 5 minutes late, but by tomorrow I'll have forgotten. Or it sucks that my friend and I are fighting over something, but in a month I won't even remember why we fought. I worry less and let a lot more go. Plus, it helps me dedicate appropriate energy to things that do matter. I find people are more understanding when I do get upset as well. They know I'm not into drama, so when I'm really upset, they seem to be more accommodating and caring. Story 76. Drink more fudge water. I used to think I drank enough, but was always crabby. Doubled it and really am happier. Story 77. After being in and out of therapy for the majority of my youth, I decided to finally listen to what therapists said and start journaling. At first, I thought it was stupid and didn't want to keep doing it, but I kept going. I've filled 3 notebooks with journaling, and the amount of stress and anxiety I usually feel has subsided. It's cathartic and is free unless you don't have notebooks lying around, but $1 a book is worth it. And it's a good way to see patterns in the way you feel, lengths of depressed moods, common factors, etc. It's changed my life drastically. I rarely complain anymore, and I don't feel like I'm bottling up emotions. Story 78. I just think positive. I basically just put anything negative out of my mind. I don't even think about negative stuff. When I'm at work, I don't think about the weekend. I tell myself that the workday is still time I have alive, so I might as well not dread it. When I'm at work, I'm at work. I just do my job as if there is nothing else. I'm so much happier this way. I acknowledge bad stuff, but I'm constantly telling myself I'll all work out and not to stress. No sense worrying if I have no control. Just think positive. Tell yourself it'll all be good. Story 79. After taking a shower or brushing your teeth, just go to the mirror and just smile. I usually forget to do this, but when I do remember, it just helps you start a new day as happy as can be, which can be a game changer for people like me. Story 80. Spend below your means. Always have an emergency fund. Budget. Avoid credit card debt unless you can pay off the full balance without paying interest while getting rewards points. Buy experiences, visiting foreign countries, going to events with friends, instead of things. Studies have shown experiences have a better long-term happiness return over things like new clothes, electronics, etc. Teach yourself to think critically. Distrust and block all advertising. Answer, I definitely agree with a lot of what you're saying, but also want to add in that experiences can also include things. For instance, the 10 I spent on Castle Crashers was an excellent experience with 3 of my best friends. The A Song of Ice and Fire books have been a fun personal experience. The snowboard I bought has opened me up to more experiences, like falling on my face. Some people take experiences as expensive trips to far-off lands, but you can get high-quality experiences out of all kinds of things if you have the right people around. Story 81. It all sounds so easy now that I do it, but I'm sure you can appreciate that it's really not. It took years to get what feels right. 1, good diet. Most importantly, almost no sugar. This really keeps my energy levels up, mood stable, helps me not get pissed off at minor things, and take life less seriously. This is probably the only true one weird trick I know. It is amazing how much effect it has. 2, regular exercise and getting to bed on time, kind of the yang to one's yin. These all create a positive feedback loop, giving you more energy for exercise life, keeping your circadian rhythm in check, helping you get up early, go to bed early so you can do the same the next day, and live life to the full. 3, regular meditation. This is seriously awesome. It helped me stay in the moment at important times in life, from having more fun, enjoying holidays more, keeps my anxiety down, helps me be social, do stuff like throw parties and not care if things don't go as planned, avoid stupid arguments with family members, and again, take life much less seriously, making it more fun. It also works great to keep me on an even keel and get me through the tough times. 4, decide to have a good attitude. One day I just decided I was going to be kind to people, lead an honest life, and make the best of things. It's great how well people react to being genuine and kind and not complaining about stuff. Also, if you decide to try to enjoy things, you probably actually will. It's a massive win-win. It's cool to have a code too, like someone undercharges you what to do. Remember the code. Speak up and live honestly. 5, don't take things to extremes, otherwise known as the principle of good enough. Don't eat sugar, but your friend has baked an awesome cake for your birthday or a special dinner. Take a slice. It won't eliminate you. And look on the bright side. This is one of the only times you get to eat cake, so enjoy it. This is probably the one that ties the others together along with the meditation. For X, after I implemented the sugar thing, I would sometimes have massive internal battles re whether or not to eat something. And if I caved, I would get so anxious about I shouldn't have done it that it defeated the object. Also, I would be so strict on myself that when I caved, I would totally pie out and eat a whole pack of cereal or biscuits. You can imagine the tears of shame streaming down my face as it happened. The good enough rule lets me eat a square of chocolate, skip a workout, and move on without punishing myself. It took a seriously long time and much counseling. Totally recommend ESPCBT to get these things together, but now that I have, life is great. TLDR. Eat good, sleep good, exercise good, meditate, live a good life, and don't sweat the small stuff. Get counseling to help you do these things if needed. 1010 with Life Again. This is the grand unified theory of feeling okay. No sugar, sleep, exercise, meditation, and the good enough principle. It's not about perfection. It's about building a system that doesn't collapse when you eat a slice of cake. Sustainable sanity. Who knew? Story 82. committing my life to Jesus, getting involved at church, making friends there who are smarter and wiser than I. My social anxiety is gone, and I'm doing the things I never thought I'd be capable of doing. The peace and joy I feel inside amazes me every day. Answer: finding the right church for me has had so many benefits to my life, both spiritual and physical. It would be kind of difficult to describe the spiritual benefits, but as far as the physical benefits go, I've made so many friends, and it feels really good to catch up with them every week and to hear that they have been thinking of me and praying for me and that I've been thinking of them too. And it feels so good just to bless them whenever I can. A lot of the kids in the church bring their Girl Scout or school fundraiser sales to the church, and I'm happy to support them because I want them to feel like the church's family, because that's what it feels like to me. I've also almost completely overcome my fear of public speaking because the pastor asked me to give the opening message every now and then, only like 3 to 5 minutes long. So not that big of a deal. It's hard, but it keeps getting easier, and it gives me a big sense of accomplishment when it's over. It also keeps me really busy between volunteering for different ministries and putting on fundraisers, which they sometimes ask me to MC, further helping me with my stage fright. Even in the most general sense, if it feels like I've been inside too long and am feeling a little lonely or boring, at the very least I'm getting out of the house for a few hours every Sunday, and that always feels good. Faith, community, purpose. This is about more than belief. It's about plugging into a network that holds you accountable, cheers you on, and accidentally cures your social anxiety by making you speak in front of people. Whether it's a church, a club, or a book circle, the lesson is the same. Find your people and show up. Story 83. Prepare for your day before you start your day. Ban negative influences, people and behaviors, time wasters. Still working on Reddit. Move your body every day. It doesn't have to be organized exercise. Just do something. Clean your kitchen and your desk. Story 84. Got rid of Facebook. I no longer feel the need to compare myself to others and waste time like I did before. Started doing intense workouts at least 3 days a week. Story 85. Pushing myself to sit and be bored instead of needing to constantly check my phone computer. Helps keep me sober too. The boredom was definitely the biggest hurdle that I've since come to embrace. Story 86. Writing stuff down in a little leather-bound book. I write down plans, ideas, and other useful stuff. Story 87. Walk 30 miles per week and eat smaller meals, but don't go on traditional diet. You can't have my fried chicken and French fries. Story 88. I made it a point to not say bad things about others and to be more positive. Not really in a fake way because life isn't perfect, but I try not to complain if I'm not actively working towards it. It really helped me a lot, and I never realized how negativity brought me down. Story 89. Putting an equal amount of effort into my friendships and family as I do my career. I was so focused on work that life outside of my career was often fake and void of fulfillment. Fruitful employment is great only if you have people to share it with. Story 90. Meditating for 20 minutes before I go to sleep, going to gym consistently, I stopped watching adult content. Meditation has led to clearer thoughts and increased willingness to deal with emotions. Gym has literally changed my life. It has taught me mental lessons I would never have understood. It has taught me the value of hard work. It has shown me the satisfaction of delayed gratification. Cutting out adult content has without a doubt led to the best mental state I have ever been in with regards to how I appreciate and value the women around me, my abilities in seducing them, and a definite increase in the quality of intimacy. Story 91. Wake up early. Financial awareness. Investing in true friendships. Not wasting time on fake people. Don't chase after someone who's not interested in you. Listen to Audible while driving. Story 92. I made myself allergic to bullshit. I make sure to call people out on theirs when I hear or see it. It's better to let things out. Story 93. Like others have said, waking up early, not just because it gets you into a better sleep schedule, but waking up early on work days gives me a couple extra hours to get ready for the day. Sometimes that means going to the gym. Sometimes it means reading a few chapters in a book while drinking my tea. I used to sleep until the last possible minute before I realized it was a huge cause of stress and unhappiness in my workday. Story 94. As often as possible, go to bed with a clean sink and cleared counter. It is so nice to wake up in the morning to an orderly kitchen. Doesn't have to be spotless, but after years of having constant dishes and general debris greeting me in the morning, it's astonishing how much of a difference it makes. Makes my morning cup of tea so much more relaxing because I'm not constantly side-eyeing the mess. Story 95. Empathy. Sometimes I find myself making too many excuses for other people, but it makes life so much more pleasant. Instead of getting angry at someone for either ignorance or a differing opinion, I tell myself that they've simply had a different life than me, and maybe they haven't had the opportunity to learn what I or others have. Instead of ridiculing or shaming people, I try to understand what leads them to have a certain reaction. So if someone starts making fun of like a transgender person, for instance, rather than calling them wrong or an idiot or a bad person, I think about their own insecurity, or maybe their parents teaching them a certain way. Because we are all born ignorant, and to try to humiliate people for not knowing something they have had no opportunity to learn is one of the least productive things I can think of. Story 96. Meditation, working out 5-6x a week, self-love, Sundays, reading for an hour every day, slow cooking food every Sunday. Story 97. The 5-minute rule or break everything down. I spend at least 5 minutes a day on each of my goals. It starts the day off with achievement, maintains my French when I'm taking a break from working on it properly, and makes big tasks, projects approachable. I used it to help my younger sister when she admitted she was really struggling with one of her A's levels after she'd been sick and hadn't managed to catch up. Also works if a friend has let things get out of control at home and he's overwhelmed by everything that needs to be done because everything needs to be done. He couldn't find it in him to start and was disheartened by the way that once you've hit a certain level of mess, you can put an hour in, and it's still so messy you don't feel like you've accomplished anything. 5 minutes is also enough to stop things devolving too much when he had a couple of bad days. Sometimes he just did 1 minute a few times. Get food, drinks, anything you'll need, and set a timer for 5 minutes. It gets easier about the third time in. Breaking things down into many steps just helps in general. The time limit can be extended as you get into it, but the limit makes it easier. Story 98. Clean something, no matter how small, that you weren't planning on cleaning that day. Adds up over time, and the next day when you walk past that spot, you'll feel that much more accomplished. Story 99. Stop complaining. I had noticed that I started getting really negative a few months ago, so I started this thing I call No Complaints Tuesday. It's pretty simple. If it's Tuesday, don't complain about anything, not even in your thoughts. If you find that you're about to complain, ask yourself why and try to spin it in a positive way. If it's something that's out of your control, there's no point making yourself feel bad about it. If it is in your control, well, do something about it. Also, it didn't take long before No Complaints Tuesday turned into To No Complaints Ever. Answer You Will Jinx gets it. Many years ago, I disliked my job. I was happiest when my shift ended and I had the next 2 days off. I'd be relaxed and in a great mood that evening and on my first day off. On the second day off, about halfway through that day, I'd start brooding and stewing over having to return to work the next day. That went on for a while. One day I realized I was giving up half of a day off work every week by working myself up because I had to go back to work the next day. I made a determination to stop doing that. I also decided to start leaving work at the threshold of the doorway when I left and not think about it until I returned. It wasn't easy, but it ended up greatly improving my life. I still work in the same place. The boss who was responsible for me hating my job was run out years ago, and I'm 4 years away from a full retirement at age 53. Yes, I still leave work at the door. That's the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're interested, I have a second channel. This is Vancher signing off. See you soon.